what is it with some of these total drama endings and screwing the person out of the $1,000,000? I'll just outright say it. Mike won, so why didn't Chris give him the $1,000,000? I mean, you already have the world tour ending, leaving Heather bitter over it. And she tried to get the million again in Revenge of the Island, and then again here in All Stars. She needs to be reimbursed too. Just come on, or Alejandro if you voted for him in World Tour. Either case, just quit screwing the contestants out of their money, man. And besides, Mike had to deal with all the Mal BS and stuff like that. So just give him the money. Give him the money. And Chris was still holding the briefcase at the end of the episode. I want to take that briefcase, just hand it to Mike, tell him you and Zoey go run off and make a love nest somewhere tropical or something like that. You deserve it for all the crap you had to go through this season. Speaking of this particular finale, I didn't really love it, but I didn't hate it either. I'm somewhere in the middle. There were quite a few things that I really did like. Others just kind of somewhere in the middle. But I'd probably be giving it a much higher... I'd probably be giving it a lot more praise if I hadn't seen the World Tour finale or the Revenge of the Island finale. I'd honestly argue that both of those were much better done. I honestly felt myself immersed in watching both finales, and it's just, even though I wasn't really rooting for Alejandro or Heather to win in World Tour, it was still fun to watch them compete against each other and just be like, who's going to win this one? And just watching their rivalry come to its peak. And then Revenge of the Island, you have the most classic setup you can get of the kind of rivalries. The jock versus the nerd. It was so satisfying to see Cameron kick Lightning's butt as the Iron Man. I've probably mentioned that several times in the past, but I love that finale just because of that scene. I am a sucker for the underdog rising and taking victory kind of story arc. If it's done in the way that Cameron's story was, yeah, I'm gonna be rooting him on. Whether it's the best written thing I've ever seen or just schlock. I love it. Here, there was a lot of potential in the Mal versus Zoey setup. I just kind of feel like it didn't really live up to it. There was some stuff that I was absolutely enthralled by. I loved Mal every time he came on screen. I'd argue that he had his most brutal moment out of the entire season in this episode. He's probably the one total drama villain that's attempted to murder other contestants, from going to let Cameron drop down a bottomless pit, going to crush Cameron on top of that with a giant boulder, going to hit Gwen over the head with a sewer pipe. The most brutal thing he was thinking about doing happened in this episode. When they came up to the final challenge, the 3 levels of nasty-ass crap that you do not want to get stuck in. Love that, by the way. That was a really interesting twist for the usual challenges and such. He looks immediately at Heather, no hesitation when he says, "How well do you float?" And it's implied that he was gonna toss her into the acid and use her body as a raft to cross. That is brutal. That is brutal. No second thought or consideration whatsoever. In my opinion, Mal is undeniably, undefeatably the most evil total drama villain. The most ruthless, the most merciless, possibly not quite the most well written, but he deserves credit where credit is due. He beats out Joe, Scott, Alejandro, and Heather. And this would be, with all of them at their most ferocious, every single horrible thing that they've done pales in comparison to Mal trying to murder the other contestants to get to the million. He is the most ferocious total drama villain to date. Nobody, no other character is going to be able to live up to that. Yep, I admit it. He was my favorite part about season 5. I'm still pretty disappointed by the fact that the villains didn't step up and do a bit more or be more ferocious, and that there were quite a few episodes where it felt like there was some character development going on just to have it quashed in the next episode, but I'll admit it, Mal was what kept me watching all the way through, because there were several different scenes where he did not disappoint. I admit it. Aside from that, yeah, he was what I liked best. He was one of the things I liked best about the finale. That and the big challenge itself. I was honestly hoping to see a bit more direct confrontation between him and Zoey, like some sort of scrapple or skirmish. I was hoping to see her go commando Zoey and kick his ass a little bit. That would have been fun. He really deserved much bigger comeuppance than what he got. I mean, pressing a reset button and that's what eliminates him? Come on! Couldn't you have had a couple of scenes where he got his ass kicked and just got beaten up a little bit, just cropped up a little bit? Come on! This is the one villain I would honestly say I would not be upset to see get run over by lava or end up getting mangled by Fang. This is a villain that I would say that sort of comeuppance was necessary, but he's the one who gets the cushiest comeuppance. Of course, I know you can't really do the other stuff because Mike's still in there too, but really, I would have loved to see Zoey tear this guy apart. Just, I really wanted to see direct confrontation between the two of them. And just, it looked like she was ready to kick his ass if necessary. It should have happened, damn it! I wanted to see her kick his ass after all of those scenes where she was like mourning over the potential loss of Mike and thinking, how am I going to get over this? What if Mal is the one that took over? That should have escalated just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. It would have been, I know this is horrible to say, but I would have loved to see a scene where they were sort of just rolling around and almost pitting each other, holding each other just above the acid or the lava or something, threatening to push the other in. That would have been awesome! I will give credit for the scene with the water, though, where they were pushing each other under and it looked like, oh my god, they're gonna let each other drown, and it was just, that scene was intense. I will give that scene credit. And I did like finally seeing Mike and Zoey reunite and all the sappiness that ensued with that. And just, yeah, that was freaking adorable. I won't lie. I love those two together. I know they're the most shoehorned in couple out of the entire series, but I love them anyway. That's my guilty pleasure kind of thing there. I admit it. Yeah, despite all the flack I really did want to see more direct confrontation between Mal and Zoey. Really wanted to see her kick his ass, but for what scenes there was sort of the spiking or sort of raising conflict, those did work pretty well for the most part. Those were pretty well done. I did like the team up of Cameron, Gwen, and Zoey, though. Great three-person dynamic there. I was rooting them on. I was rooting them on as they got across the acid with Cameron's bubble and just... I may as well stop avoiding the elephant in the room, too. I don't know if anyone was going to ask me about this, or anyone who hasn't seen my DeviantArt page anyway. But that episode officially cemented a certain couple as being canon. In other words, all of the Allie Heather moments that happened in the episode. I kind of wondered if that was going to happen. And that, I'm kind of mixed on that too. But... oh, who am I kidding? I love seeing those two get together and just get all sappy and stuff. And it's just... it was so sappy and over the top and just... God, as somebody who's been shipping those two, I was absolutely ecstatic. I kind of wish that they'd gotten together by more well-written means, but God, I just they're kissing on screen, and it's not gross, and it's not something that makes me want to gouge my eyes out, and I love it, and it's just, it was offset just perfectly by Chris getting so irritated and annoyed. Like, the best scene in that episode was when they were kissing in the confessional. He was like, out! Get out! That is the most disgusting thing that has ever happened in there! I love that scene. Best scene in the episode to me. Just... Yep. That was probably shoehorned in last minute too. But I'll just be flat out honest. The more I think about it, isn't it just better that these characters stop the whole cat and mouse game? If we really wanted to see them at their best and competing with each other, All Stars wasn't the place for it. World Tour was. If these two ever show up again, I'd be hoping that the sappy stuff would be left in place, and that in interacting with other characters, they'd be more focused on the game. That's my biggest thing with it personally, and just aside from the whole just the whole stereotypical shipper sees their ship become canon kind of reaction, just yeah. Also, one last question. What happened to the contestants in the fart bubbles? And are Scott and Courtney gonna resolve stuff? Those are my last two questions. Those are probably up to speculation. About the fart bubbles, yeah. We're probably going to see him show up in some sort of total drama aftermath, or maybe even making cameos, commenting on the season 6 guys, but for now, I guess we can assume that they're out, that in their universe are floating around in fart bubbles waiting for them to pop, and then they all fall somewhere and then show up angry and pissed at Chris on screen saying, I'd love to see a scene in season 6 where one of them grabs the microphone and just like going the microphone and warning the newest contestants, stay off of total drama, he's gonna screw you over for 5 seasons. Just one scene like that. You gotta bring him back for one scene like that. That would be great. Well, yep, I'm on board for season 6. Season 5, meh. Definitely tuning into season 6 though, because I'd be lying if I said I wasn't going to watch it when it came on TV. This show is my worst kind of guilty pleasure. I'm a fan. I'm in it for the long haul, no matter what I might say in regards to it. So, These videos might start up again around season 6 if my schedule doesn't end up becoming too busy.